On today's episode, I cover how to keep your costs low when you're starting out as a new entrepreneur. And what do you do when you have a conflict with team members about decisions that might affect the business? To get your questions answered on the JAS Takhar podcast, all you got to do is go to meetjastakhar.com/podcast. What's the first question today?
The first question is from Ryan. How do you handle making tough decisions when your team has conflicting opinions about what's best for the business?
Look, I have a lot of experience with making a lot of decisions, and some of them are definitely tough decisions about the business, and some of them are just day to day. I'm trying to get to a place where I'm not making as many decisions. I read something, or maybe I watched something of Jeff Bezos, who obviously at one point had to make thousands of decisions probably a day, and obviously has one of the biggest businesses ever built. And what he spoke about, and I'm trying to get there, I'm nowhere near there right now, is that he felt like when he got to a place where he was only really making 2 to 3 decisions a day, that it cleared up his mind to then start to innovate more. Because the death of 1,000 do you have a minute jazz that I go through every single day, making decisions, it stops my thought process of being able to create more, innovate more, try more things, which in itself, the try more things is what helps me make decisions, knowing that at the end of the day, I'm not a brain surgeon. And so I feel that if as a brain surgeon, you make a bad decision while you're doing surgery on someone, that could be very fatal. My decisions that I'm making in the big scheme of things are not that fatal. And so what I like to do is I like to hear my team out as much as possible, meaning I want my team to speak more at a start of a meeting. I like to generally speak at the end as much as we possibly can do that. Sometimes it's me who calls the meeting, and so they're kind of waiting for me to start it. But when it comes to brainstorming and or making decisions, I kind of, doesn't matter how high level, like it could be, I could be in a negotiation with potential business partner. I could be sitting with my content team. I could be sitting with my sales team. I want them to speak, because what I've also learned is that if I do majority of the speaking at the start, Bo might have had an amazing idea, right? It might have worked, it might not have worked, but he might hold that close to his chest now because of something I said. So me as the leader in this example, I've actually just stifled his creativity. And so what I like to do is allow the team around me to speak first. And then I also have a lot of data. So it's quite strategic as well, right? Now I have the data. Okay, where's Bo's headspace at with this? Where's Clyde's? Where's Laura's? Where's Tyler's? Where's Simo's? Whoever it may be. And so that a strategy that I use is speak at the end, because then you have more data. And in terms of when it comes to tough decisions, when we're having differing opinions, I think at the end of the day, depending on which business I'm speaking about and which division we're talking about, it kind of runs as a democratic dictatorship, if that makes sense. Let me explain. What I mean by that is we always kind of vote. But at the end of the day, when it comes to my personal brand, it's my final decision. However, I don't roll like that. Like, I don't think I've ever said that to my team, ever. You'll have to ask them, maybe on the side, because Bo's on with me right now. He'll probably give you the sugar-coated version. So when you bump into him, and you can ask him. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a vote. So that means sometimes Bo's going to lose, because there's just 3 against 1 in a meeting. And that's okay. He also wins too. Sometimes Clyde might lose out on something, or Laura might lose out on something. I lose out on it because I'm just like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's not something that we're going to have to, the whole business is going to fall down because of it. I think we, as business owners, we put so much weight on every decision that we then fall into paralysis by analysis. Look, at the end of the day, the quicker that you can make decisions, the faster you're going to start the feedback loop. and then just be okay to change course. A most recent example is with our content. We're going down a path, but if we change it, who cares? I know people are like, oh, but then that screws with your vision. No, not really. The vision in our content is to inspire as many people as possible and leave a massive ripple effect. At the end of the day, everything from where we are to hitting that vision, and for that to be real, can and should be adjusted along the way. Did you know that when you're in an airplane, 90% of the time, it's off target? Like 90% of the time. That means that you have to learn how to adjust and go with the flow. The decisions that you think are that big, you come to realize they're not. Here's a quick hack, by the way, for the ones that have a hard time making decisions. Next time somebody asks you, you got to start small with things in life, right? Small little habits, they start to stack, and then they become kind of your new way of going through life, handling bigger decisions in business. Next time somebody asks you what you want for lunch, don't say I don't know or I don't care. Answer the question. Why? Because you're training the brain. And if you're not working the organ, working the muscle, when you need it, it's not going to be there. It's why it's a good idea to have some resistance training. Why? Because then if you have to carry the groceries from the car, and most men are probably like me, we don't want to make a second trip, so we load up as much as we possibly can, and our fingers are pulsating with the bags ripping through them. But you're like, I don't care, I'm going to do it in one trip. It's because it's easier, because you've probably done some resistance training. Same thing with the brain. So if you are always like, I don't care, when you have to make a hard decision, the brain's like, oh, bro, this is new to me, man. It's kind of tough to do this. And I know it's a simple thing. Next time, I don't care what the answer is. Even if like you didn't want to say a burger, but you said burger, that's good. You made the decision. And then you'll learn how to deal with the burger that day, right? Something small starts to add up. Oh, what's next?
The next question we got is from Sienna. What's your approach to keeping costs low as a new entrepreneur without sacrificing the quality of your service?
Well, I have a lot of experience with this, because at the start, you always have one or two things, right? When you're starting a business, you either have money because you got infused with some cash, some capital, or like you might just have some money coming from another business. So one thing is that you have money. Two, you might just have more time, meaning you're not busy and you don't have much money. So I was always in the latter, meaning that I really never had a lot of money going into another business. I was always kind of starting it from fresh. And so what I did is consistently keep my costs low. I still keep my costs low. There's probably some things on my credit card as we come up to the end of, at the end of the year now, it's when I usually look at my credit card statements and see what's, silly subscriptions we have. What I would say to you is monitor it. Don't do it every year like I do it. Do as I tell you, not as what I'm doing in this situation, where monitor it every single month, because you might have just bought something, i.e. a subscription, that you don't need. If you have more time than you have money, then you have to do things by yourself at the start. Now, there's a lot of things that have come out recently that I didn't have at my disposal, i.e. virtual assistants. You're giving people jobs, and because they're doing it virtually, now just be okay and be comfortable with the time differences and stuff. You can, and this is legal. Just because you're paying someone $8 an hour, and that's not legal maybe in Toronto, but it's legal in whatever country they're in. So I'm not telling you to do anything illegal. That $8 for them is a lot more than what somebody's getting paid, that you can actually still do things inexpensively and not affect your service. But one thing that will definitely help is that you're just gonna have to do more of the things yourself, which means more hours. Yes, when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, to think that you can get away with 50, 60 hours a week is a pipe dream. That's why what they show you on social media is full of shit. Really. 60 hours as an entrepreneur, that's fucking part-time. For real. Starting out, that's part-time hours. You need to eat, sleep, breathe it. So what are you doing? Yes, I am telling you that you need to be only sleeping 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day at the start. At the start, that's real. I don't want you to live your whole life like that forever. But at the start, yeah, something has to get sacrificed. If you want to build something big, something has to get sacrificed. And that's sometimes your sleep, sometimes that's personal time to yourself, sometimes that's family time. I've been through it all. And I go through seasons of it now. You know, I don't get 3-4 hours a day every single day with my kids. And then there's weeks, months on end that I get that. But then on the flip side, some of my work sacrifices. Well, I'm okay with that. So one of the ways to get over it and keep your costs low is do majority of the work and look into getting some help at a very low cost with virtual assistants.
Next question we got from Khalil. How do you stay focused on long-term goals when you're constantly pulled into the day-to-day grind?
I think one way that I've always done it is I have notes and my vision and my mission statement posted on a piece of paper on my phone as my wallpaper. It's something that I've done for a very, very long time that consistently reminds me. So I have it written, if you know, in my office, on the whiteboard. You can tell like it's also starting to fade away now. So I write it over again to make it more clear. It's the vision, it's the mission statement. So when people come up to me with new ideas, which I get generally somebody reaching out to me once every other day, if not more than that, with like, hey, Jazz, would you want to do this? Would you want to do that? I look back to the vision and the bigger goals, the mission. And if it doesn't align with it, I'm at a place in my life now. If it doesn't align with it, I'm just going to say no. If it's not a hell yes, it's probably a hell no. That's how I'm kind of making my decisions on what to do in my day-to-day that will ultimately get me closer to my big goals. And so the best way to do it is to have it posted everywhere. And think about it before you go to sleep and when you wake up in the morning. Because as you get bogged down sometimes with the day-to-day, which you have to, that's part of running a business. Until you can actually put somebody in head of operations, you might need to just get bogged down in the minutia of the day-to-day, but that doesn't mean that you have to forget the big goals and just post them everywhere. Post them everywhere until it becomes second nature. Like, I know what my big goals are in life. And so if it's not a hell yes, then it's a hell no. When someone comes up with a new idea or a new venture for me, that's going to suck out some of my time. Theme song when I close a deal. I don't know who sings this song. I don't know the title of this song, but I know how the song goes. The song is the intro to what was a hit show back in the days, Like 'Em or Hate 'Em. But the show was a hit, which was The Apprentice, which the song that money, 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 money. So I don't know the name of the song. And you guys can tell me what you think about the way that I sing. I don't think Bo liked it much as he moved off his headphones. That was episode 278. I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode to get your question answered. And they come from all over the place, all over the world, and topic related all over the place. All you got to do is go to meetjazztakhar.com/podcast to get your question answered. Go to meetjazztakhar.com/podcast.